Oscar night. It is movie town's brightest hour.
A 12-month scramble for a small statue you could hide in your overcoat pocket.
Have I ever yelled at the screen, "What the hell were you thinking?" Absolutely.
The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is the preeminent organization in the art of making motion pictures. It's an organization that was founded in 1927. The first Oscar was like 15 people were there. Louis B. Mayer wanted to have an organization that could mediate labor disputes without the unions. Eventually, they wanted to honor achievement.
The Oscar has two functions in a way. One function is to reward and celebrate great artistic accomplishment, kind of our vicarious way of saying, we love you, and we love what you do for us, and what you bring into our lives. The other is to elevate and promote the industry in general, and to create awareness at least once a year about an industry that depends so much on the public's engagement. MoMA was privileged in 1979 to receive an actual Oscar.
Contributing to the public's perception of motion pictures as an art form. Tonight, the Academy once again pays tribute to the museum's Department of Film for its continuing and growing accomplishments.
So why am I putting gloves on to hold a gold-plated statue? It's because it's an object in MoMA's collection at this point, and we treat all of our archival objects with great care. The winner was MoMA! Oh my God! It's Oscar. Hey man, what's up?
Weight, 8 pounds, 8 ounces. Height, 13½ inches. Name, Oscar.
So the Oscar statuette was designed by the MGM artist Cedric Gibbons. He's a knight with a sword on a film reel with the 5 spokes representing the original branches of the Academy: actors, writers, directors, producers, and technicians. Our librarian, a woman named Margaret Herrick, who eventually became our executive director, she looked at it and said it reminded her of her uncle Oscar. There's another story out there that Betty Davis said it looked like one of her husbands.
The rear end of the Oscar looked like him.
Now we are 17 craft branches from 5. Oscar season maybe runs from October, November through the actual ceremony.
The chase for awards is also a chase for publicity and for awareness and for buzz and discussion.
You're trying to position your film so that the various critics and the various award shows can look at your film and think of it as an awards contender. There's a fever pitch that happens. It's quite extraordinary.
Probably everybody's heard stories about certain figures in the industry over the years really targeting Academy groups and lavishing them with parties and gifts. A lot of that has been reined in by the Academy, realizing that if the process is corrupted, then the legitimacy of the awards will be called into question. The Best Picture category is probably the most fraught.
Shakespeare in Love.
It's certainly the one people remember the most. And I'll go out there and say, you know, the year that Crash beat Brokeback Mountain, which, you know, I'm not alone in thinking was the biggest jaw dropper of my lifetime. You had to go back and question, well, what happened there? There really was consensus that Brokeback Mountain was the artistic achievement of the year, certainly at that caliber or level of filmmaking. One of the things I respect most about film is that we in the film world are very honest about our relationship with commerce. And that doesn't happen in all the art forms. There's a lot of art forms that really try to hide the fact that there is commerce involved. So that relationship between art form and industry is an integral part of the Academy. It's not always money. Sometimes it's relationships. Sometimes it's who knows who within the Academy, who's shaking hands with whom at the right moment.
I have much more faith in the Academy voter in that they will look at a film and judge the film on its merit and not whether or not they had a glass of wine and a piece of cheese to go with that screening.
Now here's how the voting for the awards is done. Academy members voted by secret ballot for 5 nominees in each category. Nominating is done by specialists in each field. For example, only cinematographers may nominate cinematographers, writers, and so on.
Finally, Academy members voted for all the awards of merit. The secret ballots were tabulated by the accounting firm of Price Waterhouse. You got all that? Okay.
Majority rules.
And as for you,
At long last.
People started really looking at the makeup of the Academy, like who are these members and what's the demographic, because some of the choices they're making don't seem to align at all with what's happening, certainly in the popular currents or even in the direction of innovation. And the Academy realized, okay, we really need to take a hard look at this. Our demographic is too staid, it's too homogeneous, so let's mix it up. I was honored to be invited to join the Academy in 2017 as part of this new wave of getting people involved from diverse corners of the field and diverse backgrounds. More women coming in, more people of color, and more international folks. I think that's been a critical element. If those audience members aren't seeing themselves reflected on screen in the work of not only the actors, but the people behind the cameras, and seeing those people hold Oscars at the end of the years for the films that they love, you're going to start to lose audience interest in both the Oscars and, potentially cinema itself. When the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite movement came together a few years ago, the one example I remember most, in a way, was the film Creed, which was directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan. Sylvester Stallone was the only person nominated for that film. And it just really was kind of like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, Sly is critical to the Rocky history, but this film wasn't really Sly's movie. This was Ryan and Michael's movie. Taking a hard look at what happens when a film like that can succeed and have the Academy's attention and still not get nominations for the kind of lead creators on that film really was kind of a shock to many of us.
If a genie ever gave me a wish, I think I'd know how I'd like to spend it. I want my name to be in a list like this. Those nominated for the best achievement in directing are...
It's a big problem that there's only been one woman ever to win the Oscar for Best Director, and that's Catherine Bigelow for The Hurt Locker. It went toe-to-toe with Avatar and ultimately walked away with both Best Director and Best Picture. Many, many more people saw this incredible work of art. That was something great that Oscar could do. The fact that it hasn't done that for more women or more films directed by women is a huge problem. So a huge wave of the new members over the last few years have been women in all areas of creation on films. Will the Academy be able to celebrate the contributions of women behind the camera in ways that it hasn't managed to in the past? And if it can't, I believe then that's when there's a real problem with its viability as recognizing what's happening in the field.
There's no other way to describe it. It's the moment of a lifetime.
Once the show was televised, and as we added more categories and opened it up and honored more crafts, it was a natural progression for it to go from the small gala to the big television production that it is now.
There have been hosts who have been fixtures, so Bob Hope or Billy Crystal, Ellen DeGeneres, Whoopi Goldberg. There have been duos, and then there have been, I think, gaggles of hosts. They've tried a lot, including no host, which may in fact be what the Academy tries this year.
There are some favorite moments when you're watching this show.
I think some of the best stories are the ones of just the disasters at the Oscars. David Niven was presenting an Oscar when a streaker ran behind him.
Probably the only love that man will ever get in his life is by stripping off and showing his shortcomings.
I also was very privileged to bring my mother to the Oscars when the wrong Best Picture was awarded. We get to the end and all of a sudden they're taking an Oscar out of someone's hand and she was like, hey, has this happened before? What's going on? And I was like, I have no idea.
Moonlight, Best Picture.
The filmmakers who have won Oscars, and I've talked to several, it's like, what does it mean now? And a lot of them say it's a game changer for them. It's a game changer. Doors open, scripts come in, they can get appointments and meetings with producers and other directors and other actors. It really does open the door for them in their career.
Ultimately, the goal is that the best artistic work of the year is celebrated. It's another opportunity for the industry to acknowledge how important it is for cinema to be recognized not just as a commercial product, not just something that is escapist and pure entertainment, but that is actually the collective efforts of an enormous pool of talent.
What I hope the future of the Oscars is that we continue to tune in and we continue to make that one night the night where everyone comes together collectively and enjoy this ceremony.
It's a reminder to all of us to always celebrate great works of art in any field, but certainly in film. We'll see you soon, Oscar. Thanks for always reminding us. Folks, we'll see you at the movies.